What are we talking about? She's a mess.
Oh my gosh, this is going so well.
Anyway, next.
Hello and welcome back to Judge a Book, a podcast by Studio White Noise. Today we're being a little controversial and dedicating an entire episode to judging our colleagues, our bosses, our parents based on when they were born. Get ready to slay as we deep dive into the stereotypes of Gen Z, millennials, alpha gens and boomers. And does it help us become better strategists and creatives, or are we just being a bit cringe? Today I have the glorious Melio.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Hi. There's the cringe bit.
There's the cringe bit.
That was hashtag cringe.
Oh,
wow.
That's hashtag cringe.
Your hashtag cringe.
Oh, Jesus, we're in a spiral already.
Oh, it's fallen down the rabbit hole. And Miss Dawn is here as well.
Hi.
To keep us in check.
Hi.
Hi. So in case you can't tell, Dawn is our Gen Z. She's batting in the Gen Z corner today. Mel straddles the Gen Z millennial cusp.
Yeah.
Depending on how hungry or tired she is.
Yeah.
Depends on which attitude she brings into the office. And I am a millennial, so still super young, still super vibrant, not at all heading towards the wrong side of 30. I also wanted to say in this podcast that these are our own thoughts and not necessarily highly unlikely to be based on any research or grounded in fact whatsoever.
We don't know that yet. Could be very intellectual.
It's probably safe to put the disclaimer up front, I think.
Yeah.
No, we're really smart.
We're
academics
really
here.
smart.
Truly. So baby boomers, 1946 to 1964.
Old.
Gen X's, 1965 to 1980.
Pretty old.
Pretty old? Okay, cool. Well, you be careful in this one then, Mel. Millennials, 1981 to 1996.
Young and very cool.
Excellent. Well done. Good job.
Very cool.
Gen Z's, 1997 to 2012.
A
Which
baby.
is ridiculous. Just babies.
A baby.
Fresh.
Wow.
And then Alpha Gens, 2012 to 2025. And I don't actually know what comes after Alpha Gens, to be honest.
Beta gen.
Is that really what it is?
I don't know.
Or are you just coining
I'm
the
just
term?
coining it. Alpha.
Imagine if
beta,
that catches
gamma.
on. Like they hear this podcast
You heard it
and then
here
they're
first. You heard it here first.
like,
Let
yeah,
it be known
let's-
that I named the next generation.
This is the mark you leave on the world.
Yeah.
I think it's important for us when we are designing to judge our target audience and really kind of get into their mindset, which can be quite difficult when they're a bit older or even harder, I think, when actually they're quite a lot younger than us. Biggest question is, do our preconceived ideas of each generation make our work better or do they make it worse?
I feel like it's a tricky one because I feel like as soon as you start like pigeonholing into like what you think they're going to like, you're kind of, it's all guesswork. And then like, can we really speak on behalf of what other people want? But then we have to, in a way. Like that's kind of like we're dealing with like target audiences all the time
Yeah.
and like have to like appeal to a certain demographic. So it's a tricky one.
I feel like it's one of those things. It's like unless you do the groundwork and like interview the people who are like who are actually the target audience of like the product or the property or whatnot. Like it's so hard to not pigeonhole and generalize what their lifestyle is going to be, what they would want to purchase, all of that.
Does it help you to know, or is it better if we're just like, this is the product, go, be free?
I feel like in a way, like it's important
Definitely,
to know because like what would appeal to like a Gen Z might not appeal to a baby boomer. Like it's just people at different stages of their lives.
Yeah, totally.
So you kind of need to, I guess, respect that in a way.
I think it's kind of like, I feel like, it's like one of those things where like, yes, it's hard to kind of like gauge, but I think it is super helpful to have even just the pigeonholing just to like ensure that we are getting the right message across.
Yeah. I think the thing is like it's on us though. Like what do we think? Are we with it? Do we know what the baby boomers want?
Are you with it enough to know what the baby boomers want? Are you cool enough to know what the Old people, as you refer
Like
to them.
we just have to be like in tune with everyone. We're so good at it.
Just taps in. Well, with that in mind, what springs to mind when I say baby boomer?
Oh, well, I've already said old.
Old.
But like cool, they can be cool still. I feel like
Who are you trying not to offend?
baby boomers. They've got all the money right now. Got to get some.
Yeah, I
of
was
that.
going to say rich. That'd be the
Yeah.
rich ones.
They're like having a good time right now. I feel like they kind of like had their heyday. Now they're just like
Retired with your
cruising
Malfi
on,
clothes or something like that.
cruising on to the end game.
What about Gen Xers? What do we think of them?
Not much, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't really think about them that often.
Yeah, I know. I feel like they're the forgotten about generation.
But then that's really funny though, because when we were talking about it the other day, they are the generation who were all of our like first bosses, not baby boomers. When we talked about like
Yeah.
creatives in the design industry, that's who they all were. They weren't millennials, no matter how old you think we are, Dawn.
Oh my God. Wow.
Like there's nothing. They're just there. They're like an in-between, you know? Like millennials bring so much to the table and then like baby boomers had their whole thing. Like what did Gen X do, you know?
Well, maybe that's why they're always so...
Maybe they're just unproblematic. No, I know some. that-
No, I was going to say I know Gen Xers, and I'm just going to say maybe they're so...
Maybe they're the most.
the way that they are is because they're so forgotten.
Or like the middle child.
The middle
The
child
middle
syndrome,
child, so they
yeah.
lash out because they're not the eldest and they're not the
Yeah,
youngest.
they're just
Yeah.
grasping for attention.
They're not like hip enough, but they're not like money making enough. So they're like this like middle problem child. And so when they're your boss, they're like super anal.
Anyway, shout out to all the Gen Xers.
Wow,
watching.
shout out.
Well, I guess actually I might direct this to you, Dawn, because I know how Mel and I feel about our generation. How do you feel about millennials? What springs to mind when you think of us?
Like Taylor Swift moms. Like,
How fucking dare you? I know I went to Taylor Swift on the weekend,
But she took no children with her.
but are you
but
a
I
mother?
did not have a child.
You're still hip. You're still
Yeah,
cool.
I'm on the cusp, guys.
Yeah, I think millennials are. I don't know. I feel
Say
like
it, Dawn.
I feel
Spit
like
it
Gen
out.
Z, we like sometimes like there's like a joke where if someone does something like a little bit cringe, we kind of like that's millennial behavior because I feel like millennials are kind of like that first generation to kind of do that kind of start that kind of like cringe is cool sort of
So you're saying
behaviour.
I cringe.
in a nice way, maybe. But I thought, aren't we all cringe? Aren't we all cringe though?
I think that's like the Gen Z mindset. Everything is cringe. And so
Yeah, true.
therefore,
You guys
True.
are just too cool.
True. But
even being cringe is cool. I think sometimes for Gen Zs, it's like isn't there like TikTok trends where you're like, I'm just going to be.
You're really sounding
I know.
like you're pushing millennial right
that
now.
is such a millennial.
I'm throwing
I've heard
millennial,
about
aren't
the
I?
TikTok.
Yeah.
But in a nicer light, when we were talking about lightly like the generation and stuff like that, I feel like all my millennial sort of managers and bosses have been super, super kind. Like they're always the ones that are like super chill, like being like, if you need a sick day, like go take a sick day, like being very generous about that kind of stuff. And I think we kind of discussed it in our side conversations and whatnot, where it's like because millennials have kind of been through that like baby boomer bosses, Gen X bosses, but like that kind of like very harsh treatment from them. Perhaps that's why they're so lenient and so nice as managers and when they're in that kind of higher up role.
We'll just kind of like take a grab of that for you, Dawn, and then we can send that to Andreas and Lauren. And you can be
Don't
like,
tell them that
Yeah,
I've
we're
been
amazing.
snack.
I love them
What?
so much. They're just the best.
They're just the best.
Wow.
Wow.
I think when I think of millennials, so like my generation, I do tend to find us a little bit ick sometimes, though, as well. Like I do love our generation, but at the same time, I think of it as like skinny jeans, millennial pink.
I'm angry at Gen Z a little bit because like we had the trauma of like, well, not the trauma, but like we were like pre-screens and stuff, and like the stuff that happens.
The trauma
then...
of pre-screens.
No. Guys, let me finish. This is important. But you know, in high school when like, God, the fashion trends and like the makeup, it was just so like we didn't have YouTube tutorials for makeup and stuff.
No.
And like we looked horrific all the time. Like we had belts over our tops and like all this stuff. Like there was no
belts
purpose.
Over tops, over jeans.
Yeah. And like maybe even
That
a
were-
skirt over. Well, you do that now because now it's cool apparently.
Fashion repeats itself.
But it shouldn't, Dawn. This should have died. It died a terrible
But we
death.
elevate it now.
But all of you guys have just gone straight from being like a child to like.
I disagree because like we definitely had like moments of cringe. Like I think it's the alpha gens that's the one that's just like because they've been brought up like purely through TikTok and purely through social media because social media didn't really boom until we like people my age were like
The Gen Zs
the
made
Gen
it.
Zs.
Well,
But
maybe
like,
I have a bone to pick with the alpha gens.
wow. Because
I
feel like
redirect.
Well, you don't like children anyway, so it's a fair
Yeah.
enough assessment.
Depends on the child, but
Yeah.
mostly, yep.
Yeah.
well-behaved child, yes. We definitely had like the cringe period and like I think people didn't
but
really
just
take themselves.
nowhere near our level, Dawn.
I know, but we still had like
We had like one foundation shade and it was orange
wow.
with like
Mm.
just like nothing else on our faces. Like we didn't even know about bronzer and blush and stuff. It was a powder foundation.
Apricot scrub
yeah.
or whatever it was, and then nothing else.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
really strip
Oh,
that
yeah.
skin
Just
back.
scrub.
We're
Yeah.
still trying to recover.
I think so. Clearly, it's still quite traumatic for
We had
us.
the JJ skinny jeans. You'd wear a
Oh,
coloured
look at
skinny
you
jean,
trying to assimilate.
and then you'd wear it with
Guys,
Doc
we had that
Martens.
too.
So fast fashion is. We talked about this the other day as well, actually, where I thought that maybe Gen Zs, we can move on to Gen Zs if we want to, there was a little bit of hypocrisy in the way
Yeah.
that it's, you know, very climate conscious, eco conscious, very woke. And then on the flip side, it's like, oh, I got this bag from Shein because it cost me $10. How cute.
Yeah, I definitely do have friends who are like I know of people who are definitely like that. But like I don't know, like sometimes like I feel like I have the same morals as well, but then like because I'm so poor, like
Because of the baby boomers.
because of the
Because of
baby
those
boomers, like I'm just
fucking
like,
baby
well, I have to
boomers.
get my singlets and stuff from Glassons because I'm just like I don't have the money to afford
Yeah.
like $60 nice tank tops from like a more sustainable brand. So I think it's a bit more like, I don't know, I can't say for like everyone, but like I definitely think that's probably the vast majority of Gen Zs is like it's not like
Cost of living, baby.
it's a cost of living crisis, really. Yeah.
It's brutal out there.
The generation that we have forgotten to talk about is the Alpha Gen, not the Beta Gen, as coined by Dawn, who's
Period.
TM.
coming to a theatre near you.
Yeah.
Beta Gen.
This summer.
Nailed it.
What do we think of the Alpha Gens coming up? Because they are children at the moment or about to be born.
They're just a bit annoying, aren't they?
I think like I was like walking down, maybe I was like in Richmond for some reason, I don't know, walking down Swan Street and there was just a bunch of like, you could tell that they were like 12s, but like bleach blonde hair.
12s.
You could tell they were 12s, just, you know, like preteens or like Sephora teens. You could tell they were like Sephora teens. But I was just like, God, like at 12 years old, they were like wearing like clearly like branded like ripped jeans and like tank tops and like bleach blonde hair, like gorgeous tans. And I was kind of just like, what? Like,
Yeah.
why are they so good looking? Like how, like, that was the age where I was in the JJ
Yeah.
skinny jeans, you know?
That's
Yeah.
how we feel about you,
Yeah.
though, when we
Crazy.
see like no blue eye shadow and foundation that matches your skin tone.
But the coloured jeans were like, yep, they're hot.
Well, at the time.
Yeah. Oh, if you didn't own like at least 10 pairs of different coloured skinny jeans when you were a millennial growing up, you were not.
Loser.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're children still. You can't really judge them. Like, I don't know where they're going to go. They're a bit annoying at the minute. But they could improve, maybe. I just feel like it's the whole thing with like technology and stuff, because that's been like their whole life. They've grown. They're the iPad kids. And like now we're really seeing like the effect of that on like kids.
Obviously a very general statement, but like perhaps quite vain as a generation because their whole life has been posted on social media. Like they would have mums who would probably like post baby pictures of them on social media and stuff like
that.
that.
An Instagram account. Have you secured an Instagram handle for your child?
Well,
side note.
When we hard launch him, we'll announce that. Don't you worry about that.
Follow him at
yeah. They're also the COVID babies. So they were all born during lockdown for the most part. So they're all very like, you know, so technology was kind of their way that they kind of met their grandparents.
Wow,
and kind of connected.
That's crazy.
I know. It's not that long ago. I think one of the things that we kind of talk about when we're kind of marketing and kind of developing up our strategies at the moment in the studio is marketing to the alpha gen, because their parents are the ones with money. So in order to market to millennials, we have to actually engage the alpha gen. So especially when we're talking about doing any kind of placemaking brands or anything that's kind of retail focused, that is when we kind of go, oh, okay, like we have to kind of appeal in some way to that generation, because they heavily influence their parents in terms of buying power and what they kind of, I guess, what they kind of spend their money on. And all of their stuff comes from, like, weirdly, YouTube.
Yeah.
Which I thought died a terrible death. And it was just people who played, you know, who it was just kind of like almost like a funniest home videos reel, to be honest, on YouTube. But kids, that's what they're obsessed with now, is watching YouTube and toy unboxings and then people playing with toys.
Yeah. Big money in that. Sad I missed it. Would have loved that.
Toy unboxing.
Yeah, I want to be the kid who unboxes stuff.
Do you feel like you've missed out on every generation of being a social media star?
Yep.
What are the generational stereotypes that we think we potentially get wrong, because it's just easier to blame or belittle our other the generations that surround us?
In terms of personality or aesthetics?
I mean, we're designers and we're judging them. Let's go aesthetics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like this is an interesting one, because I feel like there's a lot about like potentially like the Gen Xers like designing for Alpha Gen. Is that what it is?
Where are you going? Are you going up or down?
The young one.
Alpha Gen.
Yep, nailed it.
Where are you going?
The older people trying to keep up with like what the younger people want in terms of like a look and feel. And I feel like that can sometimes be cringe, but I'm interested in terms of like maybe we're doing it the wrong way as well. Like when we're doing like the baby boomers and we're like, oh, these guys are going to froth a gold foil. Like,
yeah, so true.
Are they looking at it and being like, I swear to God, if I see one more gold foil, I'm going to.
If I see like a thin or like tracked out like property.
Yeah, like are we getting it? I don't know. I feel like it goes both ways. Because I feel like we do a lot of property stuff, and generally the people that's for is people with money, so not us.
Baby boomers, and we always try to like make things look luxe.
Yeah, and we're like, sophistication. Yeah. That's what they like.
Elegant typography,
maybe
elegant
they
colour
like
palette.
Cool stuff that we like.
Well, if we think about them, like they're the Woodstock generation.
True.
So
maybe they want like that like hippie font.
Like psychedelic art.
Yeah. Like they were more bohemian and they were kind of pushing against the boundaries of the great generation, which was their parents after the war.
We've got it all wrong, Dawn.
Oh my God.
We've been misled.
Because there's definitely like you kind of put like baby boomers into like that like sophisticated like pared back type of aesthetic with like luxury kind of tactile elements and stuff. But
Yeah.
then like millennials, I feel like is a bit more bright and fun,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
still towards that end. And
A
then
bit more
like
conservative, yeah.
the Gen
Gen Z's is a
Gen
bit more like
Zs
you
are
can
like-
do
Well, I don't even
whatever.
know how to
Colours.
market to a Gen Z, to be honest. Like, how do you sell anything?
I think the issue with like a lot of Gen Z and Alpha Gen sort of aesthetics is that there's not really one aesthetic that we follow. Because like,
you guys
again,
are just so diverse.
well, again, like the rise of social media, what is a trend? Everything's trending at once. So like my Pinterest board looks way different to like a lot of my friends because like they're following different trends. So I think
Yeah.
that's the challenge with marketing towards my generation and like the generation below Alpha Gen is
Do you
that
think
like,
that like part of that is because like it's harder to market to like a Gen Z because they have so much content to like filter through? Like they've got all of the internet, they've got Instagram, they've got Pinterest,
totally.
they've got like all the different
And
things.
also, as we
whereas,
just saw, my
like,
attention
baby
span
boomers,
is so
they've got what do
low.
they have? They've got like newspapers.
I really feel you're trying to make
They've got a stone.
like a tablet.
With engravings.
Just a wall mural. Next publication we make, it's just going to be a rock.
So tactile.
Look at that emboss. Do you think people are getting your generation right when it comes to design? Or do you think that it's like only people within your generation are like appealing to you?
I would say your second point, actually, because I feel like when a lot of agencies try to market to a Gen Z, it's always like bright colours, condensed font,
Yeah.
or like, yeah, like it's so odd. But then, like, what appeals? Again, it's like, it's my aesthetic, not necessarily my generation's aesthetic. Like, I
Yeah.
like really complicated graphics. I like really fun, but like interesting use of like typography. I like grunge posters. Like, there's just so many things that I do like that like an agency just wouldn't do because it's not marketable in any way. Like, it's more like
Yeah.
a poster graphic or whatnot. So
Do you
like,
think that it isn't marketable though? Like I feel like
it depends
that's
on
a
like,
whole audience.
it depends obviously. Again, like that's just like agency talk and like what.
Or do you think it's because like it's harder to for other people to like palette, like they're like seeing this and being like, oh, this is too
I think
extreme.
it's maybe like one of those things where it's just like I think a Gen Z would look at it and be like, look at that type of like complicated graphic or like that kind of like band poster, that kind of aesthetic, and be like, yep, love it. But like if they want to target other audiences with that as well,
Yeah, it's too niche.
then like it's too niche.
Interesting. But then like what they're currently doing.
It's like the safe Gen Z kind of branding is what I think. When I look at it as a Gen Z, like that's what I think.
yeah.
And does that turn you off it as like a Gen Z
Not
designer?
necessarily, but it's like one of those things that's like, oh, they're just being safe. Where like there are studios that do a bit more of like that riskier graphic. And that to me, I'm like, yeah, they got it.
Yeah.
They got it. Well, like
Yeah.
they know what they're doing, you know?
Interesting. Do you think that like people who are going against that mainstream aesthetic are standing out more in terms of the market?
It's hard to tell. Like, I think yes. But again, is it just stuff that's like on my feed?
Yeah.
And that's what I think they're doing really well, and they're doing all these great things. But like, I don't know the ins and outs of like their
Yeah,
business.
you're very quirky. Not for everyone.
I'm so quirky.
Not for everyone.
Not for everyone.
yeah, yeah.
So, one of the most important things about design is that you understand the language that someone is speaking. So, good design can transcend any language, but at the same time, you probably need to be able to kind of actually speak to them. So, I thought it'd be fun to play a little game of what language are you speaking? Because I feel that on a daily basis with our many Gen Z women in the office. Dawn is going to say a bunch of Gen Z sayings and phrases that Mel and I will have to guess what that means. And then I will throw out a bunch of baby boomer sayings and phrases, which, to be honest, for some of them, I think we should bring back because some of them are great. And see if you two can guess what I'm actually trying to say.
Time for the intellect to come out, guys.
The Megamind.
The Megamind girls.
The Megamind girls.
We'll do baby boomers first. Let's go in age order.
Chronological order.
Yeah, age before beauty. Okay, so if I was to say what is a boob tube?
A boob tube.
A boob tube.
Yeah.
It's a top.
It's a band top.
A boob tube.
Yeah.
Well, you're
It's not
wrong.
a top.
It's a top.
Well, it became a top afterwards. No idea.
Not that.
It's not that.
What are these old people doing?
Boob tube.
Boob tube. So back in the day, in the 50s, 60s, or what have you, when television was first invented, it's
It's a television.
Well, yes, actually, it is the television. So boob was like a silly person. So
So it's like YouTube.
Linguistics.
Full circle.
Linguistics.
This is like the Latin origin of
oh
YouTube.
my god.
Crazy.
Boob tube.
apple butter.
It's obviously not the kind of butter
It's obviously
made from
not.
apples.
Apple butter.
Yeah.
Apple butter. Easy peasy. That's apple butter.
You just used another saying to like reconfirm a
What would
saying.
apple butter be?
I'm trying to think.
You're looking apple butter today. Is that
Shorty.
saucy? Shorty.
Shorty looking apple butter today.
Oh my god. A new slang. We're
Once
gonna
again.
coin it. What does it mean?
It's like a smooth talker or a flatterer. So like,
Oh, a
it's
flirt.
like yeah, a bit of a flirt. Someone who like speaks like with apple
Someone's
butter,
like
I guess.
apple buttering you up.
Yeah. This one is my favorite one. Raz your berries.
Like
Ruffle your feathers.
The saying is safe for work as well. So
raspberries, like don't like talk yourself up.
don't raz your berries. is what
So
you do.
talking yourself up.
Isn't so? It's not that. Anyway, next guess.
No, it's something exciting. Like something like that's like exciting or like is like
Has razzed your berries.
Yeah.
Raz my berries.
that's
dude.
razzed my berries.
That sounds not
That
nice.
sounds awful.
The skinny.
The
Or the
skitty.
tea.
Yes. Yeah. Oh gosh. I thought I'd give you one. Yeah.
Intellectual.
I liked some
Or
of
just a
these.
boomer.
Stop it.
Okay, that's it. That's all of mine.
I like this game. Go, Dawn. Go.
Oh,
This is when I'm gonna. This is gonna when I'm gonna.
Gut.
Have you started or are you just clearing your throat?
Yeah. Gut.
Like get it.
Gut.
Yeah, like get it, girl.
Like you look great. I don't.
Yacht.
Gut.
Why are you
We
like
can say
this?
it back and forth to each other all we want, but we still probably
Like
won't
say it in a
understand.
sentence.
I think that
It's
is
not
the
really a
sentence.
sentence. It's like
I
there's a
think-
context to it, and like
Yeah, I think that is the sentence.
that's just gut.
I think she's just merged the sentence
Yeah.
into.
It's when you see someone with like, it's like short for goddamn. Like when you see someone good looking, it's
Well,
often
I mean,
used with
it's
someone
pretty
like
close to like get it. Like get it.
kind of
Sure. Okay. Well,
Okay.
I hated that one. Next
Wow.
one.
delulu.
Oh, delusional. This is me.
So she just like she'll know so many.
Yeah, Delulu is me 24 hours a
Delulu.
day, 7 days a week.
Delulu is the Salulu. That's the
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
The solution.
yeah.
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 Just gaslight yourself into
Yeah.
believing anything. And then it's manifestation. And that, my friends, is science.
Wow.
Wow. You have to use short ones.
Yacht.
Riz.
Riz is charisma.
Yeah. And
She
you
knows it.
have Riz, correct?
I don't know if I do, but
No,
that's
not,
what,
I'm
yeah.
not saying that you do, but I'm just like, you have Riz, you aren't Riz.
The Riz.
You have Riz, or you can like Riz someone up.
yeah.
I'll like make them feel good about themselves.
No, like
No.
flirting.
Oh. Riz someone up. So you have charisma and then
Yeah,
you're
you're using your charisma.
to riz them up.
Duh.
like apple butter.
Like apple
Like
butter.
Yeah. What an evolution.
Apple butter to Riz.
Well, it would really razz our berries if you would follow us /stalk us on Instagram at Studio White Noise, or you can get in touch with us at hi@whitenoise.com.au. Thank you so much, team. This was great.
No problem.
Yeah, Dawn's silent.
Yeah,
Absolutely
say
nothing.
it.
Say what?
Send us out. Get it? 3, 2, 1, and
Got.